Hello everyone. With the recon trips out of the way in Chapter 1, join Shoestring ADV, Spencer DRZ, Ragged Roads Moto, and myself for Chapter 2 as we head out to plunder the pit. Like all good adventures, this one started with the Breakfast of Champions, as we all met up at the local Tim Hortons. Then it was over to the docks to load the bikes onto the skiff for our trip up the lake.
I'm so embarrassed. It's so big.
Wait, I saw a photo of that and I was like, that's some gear.
It looks like a body.
As we traveled up the lake, we stopped to check out a couple of the points of interest. The first stop along the way was the petroglyphs, which can only be seen by boat. Then we moved on to the waterfall on the west side of the lake, which is spectacular in the spring, but admittedly it wasn't putting on much of a show this time of year. Lastly, we stopped to look at the old steam donkey that lives on the beach just around the corner from the waterfall. With the sightseeing done, it was time to finish our run up the lake and unload the bikes. Fun fact, Pitt Lake is the world's largest tidal freshwater lake. With the bikes unloaded and the boat safely tucked away, it was time to head up to our camping spot. Admittedly, I was a little bit excited and curious to see which camping spot they would choose, as there was a couple options in this area. One of them a little more built up, the other a riverside spot with $1 million view. I was the first one to pull in, so I stopped and let the team choose which one to take. And as I expected, they chose the riverside view. Guess I'd better head down and join them to set up camp. On this adventure, I decided I'd do something new to me. I'd try camping in the Go Outfitters hammock and shelter that I won at the very first Get Lost Find Yourself. It took a little getting used to, but I rather enjoyed it once I figured out how to sleep in a hammock, especially with that $1 million view. Once we had the camp set up, it was time to head over to the hot springs for a dip. The trail to the springs is easy enough, as long as you're not afraid of heights, but the springs themselves are absolutely worth the short hike. Wee bit of a book goat path, eh, John?
Fuck, it's awesome. The water. Unbelievable. The places on this earth.
You didn't believe me? After our soothing dip in the hot springs, it was back to camp for supper and some fun conversation before letting the river sing us to sleep. Day one of proper exploring, we decided to head up to the high ground, taking the road in from Alvin. Interesting facts about Alvin: it is the location of British Columbia's first sockeye salmon hatchery that was established in the 1900s, which is one of the reasons the Upper Pitt River is world-renowned for its sport fishing. Additionally, when Alvin was settled in the early 1900s as a small logging town, it had Canada's smallest postal code area, with 40 full-time residents.
road.
We climbed higher and higher into the clouds, eventually finding the end of the road at approximately the 1,500 meters of elevation point, and almost at the border of Golden Ears Park. We knew there was a breathtaking valley view right beside us, but we couldn't see it because of the clouds. So we sent up the drone to see if there was any sunny breaks out there we couldn't see. Unfortunately, there wasn't. So we turned around and started working our way back down the mountain, eventually finding the sun halfway back to Alvin. Having come back from the high ground, and not getting the view we hoped to see because of the clouds, we had a quick stop at camp and then decided we'd go explore the other side of the valley. Hold up. Wait a minute. I think there was a road back to that beach just before we crossed the bridge. Guess we'd better go check it out. And yes, before you ask, we did eventually get permission from the property owner to be on that private beach.
Glad we found a place you want to play, John.
I could use a swim now. It's a little warm.
Well, it's right there.
A little bit of work. Oh.
After playing on that beach for a while, we carried on exploring the west side of the valley, eventually coming to a big washout that marked the end of today's exploring.
You okay?
With the west side of the valley explored, or at least explored as much as we were going to today, it was time to head back to camp, get changed, and hit the hot springs to wash off the day before settling into camp for the night.